Good morning. This is Bill with Bill's Never Ending Projects, and we're going to go through a little review on the 96 Plymouth Neon. And I'm going to, first off, I've owned it, I think it's for about 13 years. No, 14 years. And I'm going to go through some of the costs that I've had to do in repair since I bought this. And I got my wife out here with an adding machine, so I hate to hear what it's really going to be.
Way too much.
So let's start with the cost of the car used off Craigslist, $350. Then replaced the radio for $20. We hired somebody to rebuild the transmission for $1,200. Then before we even licensed it, we paid to have the exhaust welded for $250. I just made sure it's recording. It is. I soldered the gauge cluster. It cost $0. It brought all the gauges back. I'm not going to remember everything, but this is some of the stuff that I've jotted down or I truly wouldn't know. Replaced right front wheel rim when I went in the ditch once, $50. I really couldn't count that, but remount the tire, $25. New radiator in 2016, well, it's a bunch of years ago. So the new radiator and the starter I put on at the same time with both hoses. So let's see, I wrote that on another page too. Here it is, $11 for the one hose, $16 for the other hose. Radiator and starter both together, I guess, were $200. I purchased a strut collapser for $50. I bought rear struts for $175. I hired somebody to put on a timing belt where he also did two little other repairs. One was a gas line and one was the front hose was making the disc brake stink. $650. I bought some long rear brake lines for $150. Make sure it's still recording. Yep, okay. I hired a guy in Madison, Wisconsin to put on a new coil pack, charged $350 because it wouldn't run from one stoplight to the next in Madison. And he wanted to know what to put on, and I said, he gave me 3 or 4 things it could be. I said coil pack, and that worked. Now, just a couple years ago, so those rear struts only stayed on there for 5, 6, 7 years. Now we replaced all the struts and had the steering work done. $1,400 from Farm and Fleet. Then at Matt's garage, we had the exhaust welded again, and he said this time it was because of the motor mounts were broke, so he put in a new donut, welded the exhaust hanger back to the header pipe, and replaced the motor mount that was broke. $263.06. I put on a new air conditioning belt, or $35. It might have been an alternator belt. We paid $650 to have a new gas tank put on plus fill tube. That was $650. Okay, can you hold this for a second or you shoot me? Hi everybody. Replaced the battery for $45 in 2015. And then when we replaced it just a couple years ago, now the price is up to $90. We put in a light switch from eBay for $15. The lights would barely work, and that brought our lights back being bright. We thought it was just those lenses and we were never going to have good lights. Here it was just change the light switch. We put new front tires on from Walmart in 2021 for $119. Our oil changes one oil change alone was $42. And I'm sure we did a couple other ones. We'll just say $100. And then I bought a new exhaust system and put it on, and that's without hiring anybody. I did it, and it was $600 for parts alone to put that exhaust system on. Then it says on the front of the car, I wrote in magic marker on the radiator brace, it says 4-wheel brake job in 2022. I would think I would have put on any brake line that looked like it was rusting, and a couple wheel cylinders, and the front are disc and the back are drum. I'm sure that cost $300, even doing it myself. I brought this over to Paul once, and I remember he put a washer on a tie rod. He put on a new tie rod, and I don't think Paul would have let me get the car back for less than what? For that tie rod.
100 and...
Let's just say 100. I probably had him change the oil to or something like that, so you're probably right. It was, but these are just some of the things I'm thinking of, because I also put on an alternator belt. Maybe that's the one I was talking about earlier.
Refilled the air conditioning, $50.
Okay. Okay, let me have that back because I'm done reading off my paper here. Let me think. Oh, I brought this over to that guy 25 miles from here, and I wanted to put one brake hose on, and he charged me $250 to put on one brake hose and bleed the brakes. And I was not happy about that. I just did a gas line repair, $35. And let's see, well, oh, now your picture's not in there. Let me go around out of the sun, pointing the other way. There, you're back. You're back, so, yeah, why don't we go ahead and add that up then?
All right, you ready for this total?
Yep, I'm coming in.
7,590.
Wait a minute, let me get a close-up of it. It's flashing, ain't it?
No. There. $7,591.06.
Wow.
But that's for 13 years.
How many years?
13.
Okay.
13, 14.
Okay, I'm going to talk about the car now, and you can probably take that in the house. So how much is it?
$7,591.06.
Yeah, and ordinarily, if I wouldn't have had the transmission done for $11.50, they charge $250 out and $250 in for the tranny to put a new seal in. These cars never go very long without that new seal. And at some point before I bought it, all the head gaskets always go bad. So somebody might have done that before I bought it. All right, you can get out of the hot sun.
Oh, thank you.
I should have. The sun wasn't out when I put the car here.
Ended up 7,600.
7,600, and I thought 4,000.
I know.
So that means if it's 7,000 for 13 years, that's.
I would say it was about 500 a year for 14 years. Yeah. That is.
That would be 1,000 every 2 years.
Here, I'll divide it. Oh, I just unplugged it.
Okay. Anyway, it's okay. It's plenty of money. We know that. I never thought that I put $7,000 into the car, but remember, I bought it for $350, and now it has. And now it has 165,356 miles on it. And, well, I guess while I'm in here, this is the interior. Those are the gauge cluster that I had to take out. You always have to resolder the back from cold solder joints. And I love the factory radio compared to aftermarkets. Aftermarkets are junk because you can't ever read what radio station you're on half the time, and the buttons are not handy. Why get in an accident trying to control your radio? That's the way I figure it. And yes, the tops were bad on these things, where they rip, and I had to put safety pins here to keep it from, so that you could read the mirror. I'm sure somebody watching this will relate to that, because if this hangs down here, it covers up your mirror. And the thing is, it's like a little go-kart. It's really low to the ground. Not that I think it's great being sitting in there like that, like you're way down on the floor. But it is like a little go-kart when you run around, as long as you can keep. The police officer said when I blew up my other one, yeah, I'm getting a little rust there, but let me put these papers down here. Oh, here's a little flyer from the window sticker. See, that says that one was a Highline. This ain't it, because it says it's a 97 model year. Let me bring this in the car out of the sun, or even down here on the ground. It says 25 miles to 34, and the price was $13,000. And mine is a 96, and that says it's a 97, so that's pretty darn close. Base price $12,000. And those were some of the extras that you could get. Anyway, 13,000 is what they charged. I think that was an automatic too. I think even the book I must have got out of that same car. I got a 96, but it's a 97. Okay, so back to my talk about neon, since I've used one for about 13 years. It's the 2.0. I got more to say about the difference between the 95, which is this is the first generation. The first generation must have 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99. First generation, I don't know when they ended, around somewhere between 99 and 2001. And in 97, I think they went for the plastic gas tank, so you didn't have to keep replacing your gas tank, because they certainly rust out if you're going to keep your car. And the 6 number, the 6 numbers are 4. That tells you it's not a bass. The trim level's high line. And then 2 numbers up from that tell you that it's a 2.0. Yeah, this thing down here was always busted out in the plastic, but the difference is from a 95 are they changed all the sensors on the engine. So this one I blew up, and I said you should keep the fluids in there. But that's the thing with these 95s. I don't know if they improved it for 96, but my 95, all the oil came out around 195,000 miles. The cam gasket just disintegrated and all the oil came out. So I, like a dummy, drove it for, it was like 10 below zero. And what am I going to do? I was out where there's nobody. So I drove it about 10 miles and then put a quart of oil in and brought it right to a garage. He put the new cam gasket in for about $200 or $300, and then he called me and says, you didn't have any oil in that, because I lost the quart just going across the street to his garage from the Quick Trip. But I did put a quart in it at that point to bring it across the street. I knew it would leak out, and so he put well, that just shows you how these things, how hard it is to hurt these. So just keep oil in it. I ran it with no oil for a while, and I still drove it for another 5,000 or 10,000 miles after that before it finally blew up. And then I had a junkyard. See, the sensors are all different on a 95. There was some changes from 95 to 96. And so I went up a junkyard. I'm 3 or 4 hours to the Twin Cities. And I went up there. They said they had oh, that's right, I got all new tires in this. They said they had a 95 neon engine, because I didn't want to change all the sensors from a 96, 97, or 98 or whatever. So then I got up there, and here's what the oil pan looked like on the new engine. It looked like that, with that corrugated aluminum. And look at it, it's even bulged out. It's even bulged out. So, but I'm not worried about that. Maybe some water got in it. I don't even know if this engine will ever work, but I haven't had time to put it in there yet. So it is before the second generation. The reason you can't use the second generation engine is they changed the way that the computer reads the timing, or what's that? The crank sensor. Could be the camshaft sensor, but they changed how they have the teeth for reading the sensor. So that means I had to do all this research. And then the other thing was, this one didn't have the number that was easy to read. It was real crazy trying to read it and do all this research to try to find out what year this is in, because they lied to me. And then they said, oh yeah, we'll get you an engine. Yeah, I'm still waiting for him to call 2 years later. So I guess I took it because I didn't know. I thought that oil pan looked different. At some point around 1999 or something, they changed from a normal oil pan to that aluminum patterned one. So that's something about my neon. I think it's better. I think it's it sure has problems that this one didn't have when I drove a 88 Escort. A pony. But a pony. But look at this. The thing don't need safety pins. But I had a whole interior out of here and welded in new sheet pans. This is another project. I just never finished. I have to weld up strut towers in the rear before I want to use it. But I was just comparing this. I was going to tell you about the neon to the 88 Escort. This is still a first generation. They started in 84, 81 or something. I don't know. I know it's not the second generation because they're totally different. But yes, would I rather drive a neon or the Escort? I would say there's some good things about the Escort. When I put the new struts in it, it rode real nice again. I mean, compared to what it was. And I don't know. The exhaust was quieter, I think, when I had it working good. This one never seems all that quiet, even after I put the new exhaust on. And these things are always making oil leaks. Look where I parked here. Unless, yeah, I parked up. Let me put this on pause. Well, the car's covering it up, but I can bend down. I parked the neon up here, and there's that big, like it dripped. So